The resurrection story isn't completed with the rising of Christ. The resurrection story extends and extends and extends and extends until the whole company of those who believe are now in the presence of God forever. The resurrection story is your story. You are the resurrection story as the people of God. You live the resurrection story every day. The resurrection story is played out in your job. It's played out in your relationships. It's played out in your marriage. It's played out in your university. It's played out in moments of sadness and sickness and entertainment and joy and celebration. It's played out in every moment of your life because you have been surrounded. You have been welcomed. You have been brought into the resurrection story. It's impossible for you not to live the resurrection story every day of your life, whether you know it or not, if you're God's child. It's your story. And you don't look at the resurrection as something, as this important religious moment in the far distant past. No, the resurrection story lives today in your life, because by grace you have been included in the story of stories, the ruling story, the story that will win. How glorious is that? Listen, we don't gather here as a company of little stories. We gather as a company of one story. The story of redemption. And we're all connected. We're all together. We march and move together toward the end of the story. We're one because we've been drawn into the great story of the resurrection. Wowie zowie. My mind just can't take it in. It blows my mind that out of the mass of humanity, Paul Tripp has been chosen. Paul Tripp has been chosen to be part of the story of stories. How could it be? Only by grace. Now, there are some things that you need to understand about where you live now. You're living in the middle of something. And I think you probably know this, but I'll remind you of this. Living in the middle of anything is hard. Living in the beginning of something is filled with the excitement of newness and freshness and beginning. It's easy to begin things because there's just natural enthusiasm and motivation. It's fun to be at the end of things, because you have the anticipation of finality, and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and all pores are opened as you're getting close to the end. But living in the middle is hard. That's where it takes patience and hope. And that's where we are. We're living in the middle of something. And life in the middle is fraught with temptation and fraught with discouragements and questions. That's what life in the middle is like. And in the middle, you're called to wait. You could argue that the key character quality of living in the middle of the resurrection story is patience. The willingness to wait. Now, I don't think that we like to wait. I know I don't like to wait. And I think the reason we don't like to wait is because waiting immediately announces to you you're not in charge. Because if you were in charge, you wouldn't be waiting. You have never gotten angry because you had to wait for you. But it only takes a moment at the grocery store where somebody has way too many things in the cart in front of you to help you accomplish your sovereign plan of quickness. And you're standing there frustrated behind that person. You want to share something with them, but it would not be Jesus. It's hard. But I want to say something to you. The waiting in the middle of the resurrection story is not like waiting at the dentist's office. You know what it's like. You need something done to your teeth. You don't really want to be there anyway. But your dentist has overbooked himself. You're a guy. I guess in Australia I'd say you're a bloke. And it's now 45 minutes into your wait. You can't believe it. You have read all the men interest magazines there. You're now actually reading a women's magazine. You're actually reading a recipe. You're saying, I didn't know they could put chicken on that. If you're excited about the contents of a chicken recipe as a man in the dentist's office, you have waited way too long. No, it's not like that. It's not meaningless, useless waiting. It's waiting with meaning. It's waiting with purpose. It's waiting as an activity. In fact, what the Scripture would teach us, what this passage teaches us, is that waiting in the middle of the resurrection story is not just about what you will get at the end of the wait. Listen to this distinction. It's about what you become as you wait. That waiting is a part of the transformational resurrection plan. That waiting is meant to alter you, to change you, to mature you, to center you, to give you strength and wisdom and growth in godliness. Waiting is active. Waiting is purposeful. Waiting is good. Well, I got to say this. This will make you uncomfortable. Waiting is never in the way of God's plan. It's a principal tool of God's plan. You should not wonder where God is when you're waiting. God is in your wait. God inhabits your wait. W-A-I-T, just so you know what wait I'm talking about. There's a second thing. Because you're in the middle of the resurrection story, you will not here experience paradise. Get a grip. This ain't paradise. Now this is hard for us because human beings, by the nature of God's creative design, are hardwired for paradise. We were created for paradise. We were meant to live in paradise. And so there is embedded in the heart of every human being, this is Christian and non-Christian, a longing for paradise, a hunger for paradise. But this isn't paradise. Paradise is to come. And so you won't be able to turn your marriage into paradise. Some of you are disappointed because you don't have a paradise marriage. Your children won't deliver to you paradise. They're not capable of doing that. Your work won't be a paradise. Your university or your friendships won't be a paradise. So what is this moment about? Well, let me say it this way. You can't live with a destination mentality. asking today all the things that the destination will deliver, because today is not about destination. Today is about preparation for a final destination. That's the middle of the story.